Welcome to the Blueprint Podcasts, a mental health show hosted by James Thompson. Let's join in now to hear today's topic.
Hey, welcome everyone to the Soul Podcast, the remedy, as we like to call it. So hi everyone, hello. So today we're going to talk about something, and I think it's going to help a lot of people right now, because I think the idea right now is that you know better. You know better, right? You may think you don't know better at times, but you know better. You know how to act. You do. But I understand there's a difference, and today we're going to talk about it. My name is James Thompson. I'm a mental health therapist, and I sort of take what I do in the office and I share it with you all in these podcast series, and try to help you guys who are just not coming to an office. You are just totally against it, and I understand that, and that's where this podcast was inspired, to try to give you some antidotes and some things that I deal with personally and some things I deal with professionally. So, all right, so the topic today is that you know better. And I say that respectfully because I know we all have things that we're dealing with, and they could be, some of them are in the grieving matters, which I understand, and then some of them are kind of personally driven, which, you know, are always being created, I guess. So this is a management idea in that area, but I understand people who are dealing with extreme loss of a person, grieving things such as a marriage, a child being, sick. This is something totally different. I'm speaking today to people who are actively triggering themselves, and I wanted to state that you know better before you do it. Now, here's the big deal. When we say we know better, the idea is that we know what outcome we're trying to get. Now, we may not understand in the moment how to stop ourselves, but we know better about what it is we want, and we want what we want, okay? And we get easily moved by ourselves. Sometimes we talk ourselves into bigger problems than even existed, because we are getting mad and we're saying things to ourselves that are so negative and so violent, incited arguments within ourselves that we act upon them, and we begin to trigger ourselves into a heightened state of emotion that we can't pull ourselves out of, and neither can anyone else for that matter. But you know better. You know you're about to do it. You tell people you're about to do it. You go through these functions of taking off your shoes, your earrings, your shirt, guys taking off their hat. They're displaying these aggressive moods, alerting people that they're about to do something, all the while you don't want to do anything. So this is what we got to work on today and think about more creatively, is you know what you're doing. You know. And if you're real with yourself for one moment, you can look at yourself through a true lens of behavior that is unwanted, right? If you really looked at it and said, is this the behavior that's really cool, or am I just kind of acting out all the time? Just look at it. You're by yourself. I don't know, maybe you're not, but you don't have to talk out loud. You can just think about it in a very real way. I don't want you to spin it with, these added AGI graphics, computer enhancement. Just look at it for the raw emotion and behaviors that you display when you actually know better. So, for instance, you know better than to pick a fight with someone who has had a bad day, or you're giving your spouse or partner, whoever, extra to deal with when you know they've already been bombarded with a lot, or you get upset with people because they didn't do something exactly the way you wanted it, and these are things that you can easily talk yourself into more anger about, so you're triggering yourself, knowing better the whole time, but refusing to stop. Right? So just think about something that you know better. You know the outcome. You've never won doing it that style. You know there is no winning doing it that style, doing it in that way, but yet you still do it for the sake of doing it. So that's something that we got to talk about and understand from an idea of, do I really like what I do? All right, now if you like what you do and you're comfortable with it, and everyone is your friend and people have given you high fives for acting out and throwing temper tantrums and everything else, then I guess this is not any help for you. But if you have damaged relationships, seen the destruction behind you, walked in your own feelings of you're your own worst enemy kind of feeling, then this is a necessary moment where you can change. This is the time for you to take a good look at if you know better. And if you don't, this is the show for you, because today we're going to help you identify if you know better or not, okay? Now, one way to detect if you really know better is how you feel after these moments of your, event. Do you feel good after you've gotten mad or easily triggered? Do you feel good? Are you relaxed? What happens after you do this? See, this is the indicator of whether you have any sort of remorse for how you act or whether you don't. If you don't have any remorse for how you act afterwards, all right, I would say during, but forget that. We got to get through this first part, all right? But do you have any remorse? Do you ever feel bad? Do you ever call people and apologize? Are you a person that can make a sincere apology? If not, all right, then you're okay with it. But if you're a person that says, yeah, sometimes I wish I wouldn't have done that, or I kind of felt like it was going off, going out of control, but I couldn't stop myself. I did try to apologize through text. I mean, you've done some basic form of behavior retribution kind of deal. You went to people and said it wasn't exactly what I like to do. All right. So once you get that idea in mind, this is the next step. We got to figure out how willing are you, how much work are you willing to put into stopping that? Like, are you really committed to stopping it, or are you just willing to deal with it when it happens? Because these are two different things. If you're willing to stop it, then that means putting an active change in place of what you do, so that way you can warrant new experiences. But if you're just saying, I'll deal with it when it happens, then you're saying, you know what? I have no control over this. I don't want to have control over this. I'll just say I'm sorry after I destroy people's, opinions of me. So you got to make up a mind here. You got to make up your mind and say, do I like it or do I not like it? All right. So that's the first step to perceiving your own behavior. All right. You got to look at yourself and say, which one do I want to do? Now, if you're committed to stopping this, there's a few things you can do. All right. Because there's going to be evident to you now that you're starting to look at it as, okay, am I just doing what I want to do? Do I know better? And these are the steps that you're going to take. If you know that you are kind of entering a situation that is similar to one you've been in before, you should know better. If you're entering into a situation at work where there's a disagreement and you've handled it poorly before, chances are if you handle it in the same way, you're going to get the same result, which is a poor outcome. So this is where you can use some of your last education, some of your last experience. You know better. There's no need to get upset. You don't get the outcome you're looking for if you get upset. Your outcome is maintained, all right, and how you control your behavior, how easily triggered or not triggered you are. All right, that's the step. That's the way to reduce it. If you've been through it before, there's no need to redo it. Now, even if you haven't been through a situation before that you're facing where you could get triggered, or where you're going to feel like, I just want to do what I want to do, or I should know better, but I don't because this is new, then the best thing to do is to remain as silent as you can to yourself and to the situation. So basically, you got to stop talking either way, because this way you can listen to what the situation is and get more clarity, and you don't beat yourself up in the process, angering yourself into this moment where you have no control. So that's what you need to avoid. You need to learn how to avoid this moment where you bring yourself into a, I don't know, I just do what I need to do because I don't know any better. But you do know better. You do know better. And you've seen a lot of examples of these don't know betters in your friends and other areas, and you're not learning from them. This is taking up your time. This is not using strategy to get through the hard parts of your life. I've heard it said once that you don't have to go through things that other people did. You can learn from them. You can take into account their experience and apply it to some of your wisdom and come out with a better pathway towards success for you. But if you are scared and stuck and thinking there's no better way, then you won't look for a better way. But I'm telling you right now, you do know better. You do know a better way. You just haven't functioned in it. And today is the day that you need to take off the blinders, get real with yourself, ask yourself, why do I do the things I do when I do know better? When I do know better, because you're not without thought. You know what's going on. You know what thing you're looking for at the end of your display of behavior or poor behavior choices. You know where you're really functioning. Now you got to pull yourself back. If you are saying, I'm tired of it, if you're tired of destroying your friendships, if you're tired of destroying your partnerships, if you're tired of coming down on your kids for no reason, if you're tired for being a cloud at work, if you're tired for not getting invited anywhere, if you're tired for going to the store and always being like out of mood, or if you can't go to places and enjoy yourself, these are the things that you can improve and correct if you get in alignment with yourself today and admit that I do know better when I'm entering situations where I behave poorly. If you can say this to yourself with some honesty before you get there, chances are you'll improve the behavior while you're there. Just like you don't go to, let's just say you don't go to certain places and just start jumping around and screaming and going crazy, right? You don't do that in the grocery store. Why don't you do that? Because it's not acceptable. Nobody's going to let you do it, right? So why do you do it with yourself? You know where to act and how to act when you get there. You know how to do it. You know the people that you can do this with. You know the people that'll tolerate it. You know how many times you can get away with it. You know the envelope to push. You know how to read people who are going to allow you to do it. This is why you surround yourself with people that let you do this. But I'm telling you, you do know better. You've learned to do things that you're not supposed to do. You don't pick your nose in public, right? How did you learn that? Okay, same thing. You can learn not to allow yourself to be easily triggered into every situation you come across. And today's the first day. Ask yourself, do I know better? And if you say yes, make that change. You can do it. It's all about trying. Today's the day. I know you can do it. Now hey, no excuses. Do you want to change? How bad do you want to change? Let's go. Let's get it through our mind today. This is a Mental Fitness Friday. I will be back with more. Check out the shows, hit like if you want it to get around to other people, all right? Take good care. Have a beautiful weekend. I'll be back.